Our embroidery video today is going to require us to knock some things down. Well, we're not going to need this, but we will need our embroidery machine and fabric with a pile. What we're going to do is knock down stitches, or call it a pile drop, or you can call it a tack down stitch. Either way, we are going to have to knock some stitches down. Greetings and welcome to our channel. I'm Eve with The Baby's Booty. Sew What Pro is an embroidery design editing software program. This tutorial will benefit those who machine embroider or wish to learn more about it. You should already have a machine and have purchased designs to fully benefit from this video. Today's Sew What Pro tutorial is in reference to knockdown stitches. Knockdown stitches are beneficial for fabrics that have a pile on them. Let's get started. Using nap or tack down stitching is beneficial if you have a fabric that has a pile to it. Pile meaning fabric that has a texture that stands up from the surface of the fabric. For instance, terry cloth. Terry cloth has a pile. Another fabric that has a pile is fleece. So fleece, as you can see, is super thick and it has a soft texture. And this fabric, the fibers that stand up create a pile. Another popular pile fabric would be minky. And as you see, minky does have a pile. It even has the raised dots as well. So this has a pile to it. So these are some of the more popular fabrics. Anything with a furry texture is a pile fabric. So with pile fabrics and embroidery, you have to find a way to flatten the fibers underneath the embroidery. Because if you don't, the fibers have a tendency to poke up through the threads, or as time goes on and repeated washings, the fibers will overwhelm the embroidery, and your embroidery will kind of get lost somewhat in the fibers, especially if there's small detail in the embroidery pattern that you choose. Now, general way to avoid that would be after you hoop your towel. And in this instance, because of a towel, I'm going to actually use a tearaway up under my towel, because once we finish with the embroidery, we want to tear it away, and we don't want stabilizer to show on the back of the towel, because of course the towel is going to be used. So we're going to hoop a tearaway underneath the towel, and to combat the fibers poking up through the embroidery, we generally would use a water-soluble topping stabilizer. And that's what this is. It's a clear film that you would basically lay on the surface of the towel prior to doing your embroidery. And then you have this in place and you perform the embroidery on the top of this water-soluble stabilizer. And what you'll get is the water-soluble stabilizer will hold those pile fibers down underneath the embroidery. And that will keep the fibers from poking back up through your embroidery, as we stated. Now, a reason why a person would prefer to use the nap or tack down or the knockdown stitching effect underneath the embroidery is because the person may prefer that the embroidery stand out a whole lot more than just the fibers underneath the embroidery itself. They would prefer there be a field around the embroidery that is flat and that allows the towel to not come back up later, or as the towel is being washed. With you having the nap or tack down or knockdown stitching, you don't have to worry about using the water soluble stabilizer at all, and you don't have to worry about those fibers coming back up through the embroidery later. So that's the purpose of the knockdown stitching. Now, Sew What Pro has the nap or tack down knockdown stitches built into the program, where you can automatically add it to an embroidery design. Let's take a moment and show you how that would work. Now, what we're going to do is use the full version of Sew What Pro. Now, keep in mind, if you have the demo version of Sew What Pro As you see in the box, only the first 3 color changes are going to be available to save this design. So if you have the demo version, please understand that it's going to be limited. So you may not be able to utilize this feature accurately, whereas all of your letters have the knockdown stitch behind it. So I want to point that out before we get started. So demo is going to be a little bit limited. We are going to be working with a font today that comes from stitchtopia.com. If you go to stitchtopia.com, you'll notice a search bar here. If we go here and we type in Daisy and hit enter, it will take you to all of the listings that they have with Daisy attached to it. But we're going to be focusing on the Daisy embroidery font set: 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5, 2 inch, and 2.5 inches. This is your first time purchasing from stitchtopia.com. I also have a referral code that will give an additional percentage off of your purchase, and I'll leave that in the link in the description below. So let's get started. What I'm going to do is use my info icon view because I've already used some of these letters in a prior project. So I'm going to click here and my Daisy font is going to populate over here in the info icon view pane on the right hand side of your Sew What Pro. Now, if you don't have any letters populating over here, then what you would do is go to File, Merge, and then you will navigate to the folder where the font is that you would like to use. And then once you select the letter, you can click open and it will bring it into your space. And then once you click info icon view, all the rest of the letters in that folder will open up. So let's go down here, and what we're going to do is go ahead and bring in a name. So we're going to put a name on the towel with the Nap Tack Down stitches up under it. So we'll pick this F, and then under here I'm going to go A-I-T-H. Simple name to make our demonstration easier. And I'm going to line up my letters only because I'm a stickler like that. And it's probably not going to be perfect, but we're going to do just enough to get the job done. All right, so here we have the name. I'm going to come up here and select all of the letters by drawing a box around all of the letters. And then I'm going to center it on the grid. All right. Now, in order to make it easier for you to see, I'm going to actually turn the grid off. So I'm going to go to View, and I'm going to uncheck this box beside grid lines and take them off, because for the next few steps, we won't need that. And I'm also going to close out the info icon view because I've already populated in all the letters that I need. So once we take that off, here we have the letters, and here we have the 5 color stops for each letter. What I'm going to do is change the color of these letters, but first I'm going to join all of the letters in one color stop. So we're going to go to Edit, Join Threads, and join all adjacent threads of the same color. Now I'm only doing this to simplify the process for me as I'm doing the editing. You do not have to join all of the stitching, all of the letters as one color stop in order to get the Nap Tack stitching to work. So we're going to click the first color stop, which is the name, and I'm going to change the color to a brighter color. Reason being is your Nap Tack Down stitching is going to come in as black. That's the default setting for it. So in order to get the surrounding pile around the name to tack down, let's bring in some Nap Tack Down stitching so that you can see what this is going to look like. So we're going to go to Tools, and the second option down is Add Nap Tack Stitches. Okay, so let's select that, and it's going to pull up this little box, and it's going to say margin thickness, which is in millimeters, and it's going to say nap pile height,
Now, nap pile height is very simple, self-explanatory. What it's pretty much is asking you is how thick is the pile? And in our instance, this is just a basic hand towel that's been cut. So the pile on this isn't very bad. It's low to medium. But this towel here is a much thicker towel. It's a lot more plush than that one, more expensive as well. So this one could qualify as a medium to high pile. You only have two options. So it's either low to medium or it's medium to high. Okay. So in this instance, because I'm using the cheaper towel, I'm going to, didn't know that was stuck to me. I'm going to stick with low medium. All right. Now, as far as margin thickness is concerned, you have an option that can go very high as 16, but we actually don't want to go that high, but I'll show you what these look like. Okay. So we're going to start with a basic margin thickness of 5, and I'm going to let you see what that looks like. So the margin thickness pretty much is asking you how far away from this letter do you want the stitching, the pile to be stitched down. And that pretty much is it. How far away from the letters do you want the pile to be stitched down? So we're going to say 5 millimeters away from the letter, and let's click OK. And it's going to apply some nap tack down stitches, some knockdown stitches. So as you see, this black area here, what's going to happen is it's going to stitch that first. It's going to knock all these stitches down behind here to prepare a bed for the letters to stitch over the top of it. Now this is 5 millimeters away from the stitching. So I'm going to hit undo to take that away. Now we're going to try a different millimeter distance. So we're going to go with tools, add Nap Tack Stitches, and this time margin thickness, we're going to drop it down to say 2. And we're still using the low medium pile because that's how thin our towel is, and we're going to say OK. Now look at the difference in how far away from the lettering the knockdown stitching is. Okay, so you can play with this to get it to whatever distance you like, and keep in mind with this going on something like a towel, all of this area all around the black, all of this white is your towel. So the towel fibers are sticking up all around in this area, but where this black is, it's going to be flat. Let's play with this just one more time. I hit undo to take that away, and we're going to go with nap stitches that are a lot bigger. So we're going to go up to say 12, and we'll hit OK. And you give it a moment, and there you see it's much bigger, a much bigger area around the name. So all of this black is where your stitching is going to knock down those fibers on the towel in preparation for the name to be stitched over the top. Now that's a little bit big for me, so I'm going to take that away, and we'll hit undo. Say for instance you didn't want your knockdown stitching to be angled like this to the shape of the name. Say for instance you wanted your own shape like a circle or a square. One of the ways to do this is to cheat a little bit and let me show you how that could work. I'm going to hit the undo button to take that away, and this time what I'm going to do is go up to file, and I'm going to merge, and what I'm going to do is merge in a rectangle. So the rectangle that I'm going to merge in is a patch that I've made. You can use any solid shape that you may have in another pattern, and pretty much this is how you would do it. So ordinarily when you're embroidering out a design or working with a design in Sew What Pro, we generally would not suggest that you resize it with the handlebars. But in this instance, because we're not actually going to stitch this out, we're going to go ahead and drag it out. So as you see, it's covered over the name. All right. Now, what you can do is go up here now to Tools, add Nap Tack Stitches, and this time add your Nap Tack Stitches to go around your frame and hit OK. Now we're going to take away this part of that design and this part of that design. And what you have left is Nap Tack stitches that were based on the square, not on the name. So now you have Nap Tack stitches that are in the shape of the rectangle that you wanted to begin with. You can do the same with any other shape, such as a circle. Just as long as it's a solid circle, you resize it and you can get it to work. So now that we have this, what I'm going to do is go up here and save as. And I'm going to actually save this to the desktop, only because it'll make it easier for me to find it and put it on my embroidery machine. So it was on the desktop, and here it is, Faith. So let's move it over and drag it to copy to F, and I'll close that out. So now this is on my machine. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and stitch this out and show you the end results. So now what I would like to show you is, here is the knockdown stitch in the rectangle that we chose. Notice that the fibers are all lying flat, and when you do knockdown stitches, you embroider the knockdown stitches in the same color as the towel or the fabric that has the pile. So it creates a flat surface for the embroidery design to stand out on. Now that we've finished our stitch out, here is what it looks like. So here we have the full rectangle knockdown, or it's called pile drop, or it's called tack down. It's all the same thing. You're pretty much just flattening the background of the towel, of the embroidery, on the pile fabric with stitches. All you're doing is stitching the pile flat. So that's why it's called knockdown. That's why it's called pile drop, as well as tack down, nap tack down, however you want to say it. So here is the rectangle with the name behind it, so that you can see what that looks like. And then here is the same knockdown, but this one is the one that is built into Sew What Pro if you did it without doing a shape behind the name. So instead of it being the rectangle, we see that it is knocked down around the name, so it takes on the shape of the name. And here is the same name on the same pile fabric, but with no knockdown stitches, no pile drop, none of that behind the stitching. So here are the three different versions, so that you can see pretty much what you're dealing with. Okay, so here are your options for pile drop, and of course the choice is entirely up to you. There's no right way, there's no wrong way to do a towel. It's pretty much what you or your customer would prefer. If the customer doesn't like the pile drop, then of course you still have this option up top, which is the go-to, the way it's been for many years. But with the new pile drop, you know, that's out there, you can flatten the pile behind the embroidery itself, and it actually does turn out to be really cute, whichever way you decide to do it. Now, I know with this being built into Sew What Pro, if you wanted the option of a shape behind the name, instead of trying to find a solid rectangle to put behind the name, you actually can go to certain websites and purchase pile drop shapes automatically. Okay, and they come in various sizes. So I know one site definitely is Applique Corner. You can purchase pile drop shapes there. So that's appliquecorner.com, and you don't have to make your own. So if you don't have Sew What Pro, yet you want to try a pile drop or a tack down stitch, then just go to Applique Corner and purchase one. They're for sale there. But if you have Sew What Pro, you definitely have it built in where you can just type in or import whatever your design is, do a nap tack down. That's going to be a tongue twister for me. Do a nap tack down stitch, as we mentioned, was up in the options under tools, and add Nap Tack Stitches, and do that behind either a design or letters. It doesn't have to be just letters, it can be a design too, and make that choice. And you can flatten the pile on any fabric that you choose. I hope this was helpful for you. If so, please give the video a thumbs up. That lets me know that I'm doing my job in trying to make embroidery a little bit easier for you, especially if you are a user of Sew What Pro. Also, please subscribe. We do put out videos normally on a regular basis every Tuesday, Wednesday, wee hours of the morning time, and we get a video out that's training either in regular embroidery or on Sew What Pro or in dealing with some type of craft. Also, if you have any questions or suggestions for videos, please drop them in the comments below. I do respond to my comments because I do like to get back with you. We do have a newsletter that is in the link in the description below. Also, if you would like to, we do have affiliate programs. Those are through Amazon, and that is in the link below. And any proceeds from Amazon links are used to further the interest of this channel and help us keep videos coming out. I definitely enjoyed doing the video with you guys today. Thank you for tuning in, and until the next time in the next video, we want you to have happy embroidering.
Click here to subscribe to our channel. Click here to view other videos in our tutorial playlist. And click here for the next video that you should find helpful. Thank you.